Hi, everyone. I'm Celeste Duffie, the author of The Ass Backwards Way to Move Forward. And I'm here again with another reaction video. Apparently, the residents in Chicago, specifically for this video, I'm focusing on two of the Black residents in Chicago, are very disturbed over the upcoming budget and particularly have a grievance and a gripe against Mayor Brandon Johnson. So let's go ahead and get started.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Pray Eastlay.
Good afternoon to the city of Chicago. I am P. Ray of the 37th Ward. Chicago Red is our organization. Because we started this session with a prayer, I want to start my comment with a scripture. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." So I want to talk to y'all today about not going to hell. In the 37th Ward, there was a family, the Jones family. Amarie Jones was standing in her family building that they've owned for 40 years, doing a TikTok dance with her mother. A bullet came through the window, hit her in the neck. She fell to the ground in front of her mother and bled to death. A month ago, on the Chicago mugshot page, her mother was on that page. Her mother had on her daughter's Rest in Peace t-shirt. She washed it so many times that it was completely faded out. She was completely high, out of her mind, and the charge was possession. Now, the first $51 million that this council gave to the migrants came from the opioid settlement funds. I am here on behalf of the Jones family, on behalf of the 37th Ward, on behalf of Black Chicago, on behalf of the entire city, to ask you all to vote no and put that money back in the opioid settlement fund. We need that money in my neighborhood. We need that on my block. That woman should not be at Cook County Jail because she's grieving over a random act of violence that caused her to lose her child in front of her face, when the city of Chicago has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to people who ain't paid a dime into the tax base. We've been in my building for 52 years. We're about to pay some more taxes. The Jones family has been in their building for 45 years, paying taxes every year on time. So I'm asking y'all to use our tax money for our people. We need it. We got people leaning. We got people rocking. We got overdosing. We got pass out lines. You live on the west side, Mayor Johnson. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We need the money for us. We need opioid treatment on the west side of Chicago. We are the headquarters of the cartel, and everybody in here knows it. They selling more drugs than the law can allow, and y'all giving money back to them because they traffic those people up here, so we paying them going and coming. Absolutely not. We pay too much. It costs too much money to live in this city. Help Wanda Jones. Help every other grieving mother who feels like she has to go get high to get over the loss of her child. This is a woman who lived in that house. She still sleeps in that living room where her daughter passed out and bled to death. So I'm asking y'all to say no, put these people on the back burner, and put the money back in the opioid fund. We need that money. Thank y'all.
This is a disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace. This is very traumatic. I mean, the story, which I'm assuming is true, this woman named Mrs. Jones, who, but for the traumatic and horrific death of her daughter, would hopefully not be on opioids. But even if she were, the woman makes an excellent point. Why is it that money that is reserved to mitigate, to help Americans in a time of crisis who are clearly in need for drugs and related illnesses, why is that money being deferred from them and given to a migrant crisis? In the case of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson is self-inflicted. You don't have to have this problem. Chicago, listen, people of Chicago, you don't have to have this problem. You have this problem because you voted in a man who is ushering this problem to your front door and then taking your money in an attempt to so-called solve this problem. This is a problem of his making. This is a problem that unfortunately you all voted for. And this is a problem that you all should not tolerate any longer. I'm very happy to see the people of Chicago standing up and demanding that American resources be used first for Americans. And then if there is money left over, and once we are settled and straightened out and our needs are met, we can, as a group of citizens, decide who we want to help and what we would like to do with that money. But just having leadership come in, ride in on a horse, take our money and decide they're going to put it where they want it to go for reasons we cannot quite understand and they will not articulate is absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Chicago, rise up, tell these people no. And if they don't listen to you, stop paying your taxes. You don't have to give these people your money. They can't use your money. Listen, he is the mayor. People are in elected leadership. Why? Because they have the consent of the governed. You are the governed. And if you no longer consent, take that consent away from them and get your money back and do what you need to do with it.
We're going to check that list when it go up on that wall for voting, and we're going to check it twice. And we're going to find out who's been naughty or nice based on how y'all vote. And we're going to start it off with Maria Haddon. Yeah.
Chicago and some communities so angry? Why is all this kind of anti-immigrant sentiment coming up? And I want to explain to folks, it's because if we cared as much about black people and had over the decades as we do about everyone else, we wouldn't be here. But the money from a 2020.
All right. That would be Maria Haddon. Stepping out there, I see you. Don't get sarcastic because we can get jiggy, right? You set up here for that first 51 million, talking about how you feel about black people and how you have to have the same energy for black people, and you ain't never stood on this floor talking about money for black people. You get on this floor and talk about black and brown because you somewhere in the middle with it, right? But I'll tell you this, and I'm telling every other black alderman in here today, you vote for the money for these immigrants today, and we coming for them seats. You can believe that. You're going to stop pimping the black people's plight to get brown people, as y'all call it, money. You're going to give us our press conference up there on the 3rd floor, keep talking to the mayor's boy with the clink clink from his past. That's why he got to do what the mayor say do. Him and a lot of other ones in here with these shady pasts. That's why you got to vote the way that you vote. But all of us ain't got shady passes. Some of us free out here, and we can vote how we want to vote, and we coming for those seats. Now, to align yourself with somebody who's obviously a one-term mayor, if he even makes it that far, you better be worrying about your job. You better be worrying about your longevity, because we're going to vote, and we're going to get you out, because you ain't doing right by us. That's what time it is. And for your law person that's next to you, I'm going to need you to check out that federal charge that I got against those public administrators over there for messing with black people's property. It's federal case number 23CV14590. All right? And on that note, if y'all don't give us our money for the black community, know this, we getting ready to file a federal injunction against City Hall for benign neglect to the south side and west side. You got that? Boom.
She said, boom. Okay. Boom. She's filing a federal injunction. Boom. Okay. Oh gosh. Chicago is in a mess. And Chicago has been in a mess for a long time. I mean, we have been waking up on Monday mornings to get readouts, nationwide readouts on the shootings and killings in Chicago over the weekend. So apparently, and particularly in the summer when it's very hot, it tends to be a murderous time in Chicago. And it is absolutely horrific. It is terrible. Something drastic needs to happen in Chicago. And what I find so interesting is, of all of the issues that are in the Black community nationwide, the issue that seems to resonate the most, that is seeming to create a great amount of divisiveness and separation between Black people and their Democratic elected representatives, is the issue of immigration. I think that they may have overplayed their hand here. This may have, I don't know who is behind the scenes doing the calculation on how many immigrants need to go where and where to put them. But apparently there was a miscalculation. There is an error. The math, as they say, ain't mathing, because something has happened here. Because Black people in New York, Black people in Chicago, Black people are everywhere, all over these internet streets, angry. I mean, they are mad and fit to be tied over all of this immigration. So I will say this, unfortunately, this is causing, and maybe it is causing Black people to have a little more discernment in terms of how they're voting and who they're voting for. Black skin is not a reason to vote for somebody. A party is not a reason to vote for somebody. You have to look at the impact of their policies on how you're going to be able to live your life and how your family can thrive. Period. There is no other reason to vote for someone other than what it is they are doing for you and how best they can assist your family in thriving. If they're not doing for that, I don't care what their skin is. I don't care what party they're in. They are not worth your vote. And maybe people in this country, Black, Latino, Asian, white, otherwise, maybe people in this country are really waking up to that. I say that I think that a line has been drawn in the sand, and unfortunately, we are all in the same place, regardless of race, regardless of region, regardless of any of the things that used to separate us. We are in behind the line, and you're either on one side or the other of that line. But the line that has been drawn in the sand is this: there are people who want the government to leave them alone, stop messing with their money, and stop trying to socially engineer their lives. Those people are on one side of the line. And the other people on the other side of the line apparently are either being paid off or don't care. And we're separating ourselves. So we're about to find out who's really who and where you stand. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and joining me on this video. Please come back to my channel. I intend to have more for you very soon. Bye-bye.